हरिः ओम् नमस्सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य कृदन्तप्रकरणस्य 83तमः पाठः। अस्मिन् वर्गे निष्ठाप्रत्ययोः प्रक्रियायां किद्विशिष्टम् अङ्गकार्यं कथं भवति तस्य सूत्राणाम् अध्ययनं करिष्यामः। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते। पूर्वस्मिन् वर्गे अस्माभिः अङ्गकार्यस्य प्रारम्भिकाः सोपानाः चत्वारः दृष्टाः। तत्र अङ्गकार्याद् अपि पूर्वं प्रारम्भे अङ्गकार्यबाधकम् अन्तरङ्गकार्यं क्रियते। अस्माकं करपत्रे अपि अस्ति तत्र तुगागमः छे च तथा दीर्घात् एतयोः सूत्रयोः तुगागमः भवति। तदनन्तरं अकित् अतिदेशः कुत्रचित् निष्ठाप्रत्ययोः अकित् अतिदेशः भवति। तस्मिन् विषये अतिदेशप्रकरणस्य चत्वारि सूत्राणि निष्ठाशीं स्विदिमिदिक्षुदिदृशः मृषस्तितिक्षायाम् उदुपधाद् भावादिकर्मणोरन्यतरस्यां पुङक्त्वा च एतानि सर्वाणि अस्माभिः दृष्टानि। तदनन्तरं सम्प्रसारणविषयकानि सूत्राणि तत्र प्रामुख्येन वचिस्वपि यजादीनां किति तथा च ग्रहिज्या वैव्यधि वष्टि विचति वृच्छति पृच्छति विज्जतीनां इति च इत्यनयोः सूत्रयोः भिन्नानां धातूनां सम्प्रसारणम् उक्तमस्ति। तदनन्तरं विशिष्टानां सूत्राणां साहाय्येन विशिष्टेषु विषयेषु विशिष्टासु अवस्थासु धातूनां भिन्नानां धातूनां सम्प्रसारणं पाठ्यते। ह्यस्तनवर्गे पूर्वस्मिन् वर्गे अस्माभिः तदनन्तरं विद्यमानः चतुर्थः गणः सामान्यम् अङ्गकार्यम् इत्यस्य विषये अध्ययनं कृतम्। भिन्नानि सूत्राणि सन्ति। तत्र नुमागमः अस्माभिः दृष्टः, निष्ठाप्रत्ययस्य विषये णिलोपः कथं भवति तद् दृष्टम्, ह्रस्वः कुत्र भवति, दीर्घः कुत्र भवति। सो असॉर्टेड लिस्ट ऑफ फंक्शन्स इति सर्वम् अस्माभिः पूर्वस्मिन् वर्गे दृष्टम्। इदानीम् अग्रे गच्छामः। फिफ्थ सेक्शन किद् विशिष्टम् अंगकार्यम्। So most of the stuff that we are going to study in today's class is going to be a revision. So those of you, or I know many of you are actually studying the course regularly, watching these videos specifically when the Nishtha Pratyayas have started. So for most of you, all these things will be already known. What I have done is in this section 5, Kid Vishishtam Angakaryam, I have made it two parts. So you can see over there, there are some orange red colored sutras. Ghumasthaga pajahati samhali, dyatisyati mastham tikiti, dadhaterhihi, sudhita vasudhita nemadhita shvishwadhicha dhishacha, dodadghoho achopasargataha. एतानि सर्वाणि सूत्राणि श्वस्तन वर्गे पठामः। अद्यतन वर्गे अवशिष्टानि तत्र विद्यमानानि सूत्राणि तेषाम् अध्ययनं भविष्यति। So our goal today is to cover up these remaining white colored sutras. The gray ones are not related to Nishtha. I have placed them only to indicate the context. The white colored sutras are again the assorted set of functionalities. We will take a look at them today. In tomorrow's class, the sutras that have been in the red orange color, they have a common theme running across them, and we will take a look at that particular theme and the set of sutras in tomorrow's class. We have a lot of time today, very few sutras, and most of the stuff is already taught, so maybe we should be able to end early today. प्रारभामहे किद् विशिष्टं कित् प्रत्यय विशिष्टं अंगकार्यं। तत्र प्रथमः गणः उपगणः नो चेत् तत्र प्रथमं कार्यमस्ति अनुनासिकान्त धातुः अस्ति। तत्र झलादिनिष्ठा प्रत्ययः विधीयते चेत् किं भवति। So basically in this particular section we have certain groups of karyas. अनुनासिकान्त धातुः अस्ति चेत् किं भवति, वकारान्त धातुः अस्ति चेत् किं भवति, छकारान्त धातुः अस्ति चेत् किं भवति। अनेन प्रकारेण तत्र सूत्राणां रचना कृता अस्ति। तत्र प्रारम्भिकः उपगणः अस्ति अनुनासिकान्तः धातुः अस्ति चेत् किं भवति। तत्र सूत्राणि प्रायः सर्वैः ज्ञायन्ते। तत्र अनुनासिकस्य क्विज्झलो किङिति इति सूत्रमस्ति, पूर्वमधीतं। तदनन्तरं किञ्चित् अग्रे गम्यते चेत् अनुदात्तोपदेशमनिति तनोत्यादीनाम् अनुनासिकलोपो झलि किङिति इति एकं सूत्रमस्ति। तदनन्तरं जनसनखनां संझलोः इति तदनन्तरं विद्यमानम् एकं सूत्रमस्ति। एतानि सर्वाणि सूत्राणि विशिष्ट रूपेण अनुनासिकान्त धातोः विषये कार्यं वदन्ति। अनुनासिकान्त धातुः अस्ति तत्र झलादि निष्ठा प्रत्ययः भवति। इदानीं झलादि इत्यस्य कः अर्थः? निष्ठा प्रत्ययः सर्वदा तकारादिः इत्युक्ते क्त तवतु इत्येव तकारः झल् प्रत्यये समाविश्यते, प्रत्याहारे समाविश्यते। अतः तत्र निष्ठा प्रत्ययः प्रायः सर्वत्र झलादि एव भवेत्, परन्तु यत्र कुत्रचित् इडागमः भवति तत्र तस्य झलादित्वं विनश्यति, सः अजादि प्रत्ययः नाम्ना अग्रे ज्ञायते। तत्र इ इति प्रारम्भे आगच्छति, तत्र झलादित्वम् एकाल् गुणधर्मः स्थानिवद्भावेन तस्य आरोपणमपि न भवितुमर्हति। अतः इडागमः भवति चेत् निष्ठा प्रत्ययः अजादि प्रत्ययः, इडागमः न भवति चेत् निष्ठा प्रत्ययः तकारादि प्रत्ययः, नो चेत् हलादि प्रत्ययः, नो चेत् झलादि प्रत्ययः इति वर्णनं कर्तुं शक्यते। अतः यत्र यत्र अस्मिन् प्रकरणे झलादि प्रत्ययः सर्वत्रैव उच्यते, अग्रे गत्वा झलादि निष्ठा प्रत्ययः इति भवति, तत्र तत्र सर्वत्र इडागमरहितः प्रत्ययः इति अध्याहारः इति ज्ञेयम् इति सर्वदा स्मर्तव्यम्। अतः कुत्रापि झलादि निष्ठा प्रत्ययः भवति इति वदामः चेत् प्रथमं तत्र प्रत्ययस्य इडागमः भवति वा? इडागमः भवति चेत् तत् सूत्रं तत्र न प्रयोक्तव्यम्, इत्युक्ते झलादि निष्ठा प्रत्यय विशिष्टं सूत्रं तत्र न प्रयोक्तव्यम्। तत्र अनुनासिकान्त धातूनां विषये किं भवति इति पूर्वेषु वर्गेषु दृष्टम्। एकवारं पुनरावर्तनं कुर्मः। कार्यत्रयस्य प्रसक्तिः, त्रीणि कार्याणि तत्र भवितुमर्हन्ति। अन्तिमवर्णस्य लोपः, अन्तिमवर्णस्य आकारादेशः, नो चेत् उपधावर्णस्य दीर्घादेशः। तत्र प्रथमं कार्यम् अनुदात्तोपदेशवनतितनोत्यादीनाम् इति सूत्रेण अस्माभिः पूर्वमेव दृष्टम्। कुत्रचित् अन्तिमवर्णस्य लोपः भवति। अन्तिमवर्णस्य लोपः यदि धातुः अनुदात्तोपदेशः अस्ति, यस्मिन् धातौ इत्सम्यक भिन्नः स्वरः अनुदात्तः अस्ति, तस्य धातोः विषये अन्तिमवर्णस्य लोपः भवति। अनुनासिकान्त धातूनाम् एव अत्र वर्णनम्। अतः धातुपाठं पश्यामः। If you use the filter, I'm showing this because we have some time today. So if you use the filter, let's take the antya varna as the anunaasikas. It could be say nakaranta, it could be nakaranta, yakaranta, nakaranta, or it could be makaranta. So we have these many dhatus, and go. Let's take the not upadesha. Let's take the Swarabheda, Udattopadesha versus Anudattopadesha. So we can select the Anudattopadesha over here and we get exactly 6 dhatus: Rama, Nama, Gama, Yama, Hana, Mana. So these all are dhatus which are Anudattopadesha and Anunasikanta. All these are Anit dhatus, sorry. All these were Anit dhatus over there, and therefore for all these dhatus there is no idagama. Direct takaradi or jhaladi nishtha pratyay can come in front of the dhatu. Ataha yama, rama, nama, gama, hana, mana ityatya sarvatra kim bhavati? Anunasikasya antimavarnasya lopaha vidhiyate. Yama plus ta gives yata, rata, nata. So in place of ma, the lopa comes, so nothing comes. So it's basically nama becomes na, and then ta is sting over there. It combines to form nata, gata, hata, mata, and so on. So that's the story of the Anudattopadesha dhatus. The same sutra, Anudattopadesha vanati tanotyadinam. So the second set of dhatus in that particular sutra is the dhatus of the tanotyadi gana. So that's the 8th gana. We can go to this 8th gana. Tanadi gana iti atra gana पाठे तस्य वर्णनं क्रियते, नाम दीयते. तत्र आहत्य 10 धातवः सन्ति. Smallest gana in the dhatu patha, there are 10 dhatus over there, out of which 9 are anunasikanta. We are discussing about only anunasikanta. अतः अत्र क्रू धातोः चिन्तनं नावश्यकं, न करणीयं. तत्र अवशिष्टाः 9 धातवः अनुनासिकान्ताः सन्ति. एतेषु अयं द्वितीयः धातुः अस्ति सनदाने. इत्यस्य विषये अग्रे गत्वा विशिष्टं कार्यम् उच्यते. So explicit apavada has been told for this sanadane dhatu. Therefore we will skip this. So we had a total of 9. We skipped 1. So that leaves us with a balance of 8. These all 8 dhatus are again included in the same sutra Anudattopadesha vanati tanotyadinam anunasika lopojhaliking iti. Ataha tanotyadiganasya ashtanam dhatunam angasya antimavarnasya lopaha bhavati. Same set of 8 dhatus, except that sanadane we have to ignore that, and kru is obviously not applicable. So tat kshana becomes kshat, kshina becomes kshita, runu becomes rut. All that you have to do is get rid of the anunasika and add a ta over there. So that's all about this particular Anudattopadesha Vanati Tanotyadinam Sutram. Sutram we will see on the next slide, but I've already discussed the Sutra many classes ago. We'll just quickly go through the commentary. So that is one set of karya, Antima Varnasya Lopaha. Tatra Dvitiyam Mukhyam Karyam Asti Antima Varnasya Akaradeshah Bhavati Chatvarah Dhatavaha Pathyante Etena Sutrena. I'll show you this sutra. Janasanakanam Sanjhaloho. So there are two sana dhatus. There is one jana dhatu and there is one khana dhatu. So a total of 4 dhatus. Jhaladikit pratyaya pare tathacha san pratyaya pare. We have seen this sutra in case of I think Kuvip or one of the previous classes. I think somewhere we had seen this. So jana sana khanan sanjhaloho ityatra etesham vishaye atra akaradeshah bhavati. So चतुर्णाम धातूनाम अंगस्य अंतिम वर्णस्य आकारादेशः भवति. जन becomes jat. What is happening? Na is getting converted to a. Na in the previous case was undergoing a lopa. Here na is getting converted to a. Ja plus a savarna dirghe krute ja plus kta jata. Here sana, we have 2 sana dhatus. There is a shrana sambhaktau from bhadigana. And there is this shanu dane which we skipped over in the Tanotyadikara. So that shanu dane and shana sambhaktau, for both these dhatus, again the na at the end becomes a, savarna dirgham krutva sata iti siddhyati. Khan, again bhadiganasya dhatuhu avadarane plus ta khat iti tatra rupam siddhyati. Other than these two cases, so the case of lopa and case of akara, other than these two cases, anyesham dhatunam angasya anunasikasya kvijjaloking iti ityanena upadhavarnasya dirghadeshah bhavati. So all other anunasika dhatus, you get a dirghadesha over there. Shama plus kta. Sh, the upadhavar letter is akara, shakarottara akara, tasya dirghaha bhavati. So shama plus kta agre prakriyam krutva shant. Dam plus ta dam plus ta dant. Anera prakarena atra upadhav dirgham krutva rupam siddhyati. So that's all about the anunasikanta dhatu plus jhaladikit pratyaya. Sutrani pashyamaha. Anudattopadeshamanati tanotyadinam anunasika lopo jhalikingiti. Anudattopadeshanam anganam वनतेः तनोत्यादीनां च अनुनासिक लोपः भवति झलादौ किङिति प्रत्यये परतः. तत्र कानि कानि के धातवः तत्र उक्ताः सन्ति. अनुदात्तोपदेश is one segment, vanati is another dhatu from the bhadigana, and then there is tanotyadi which is the 8th gana that we saw. Out of this vanati is a set dhatu. When the set dhatu, in the sense when there is a idagama, when there is the nishtha pratyay in front of it, the nishtha pratyay gets the idagama. As soon as the nishtha pratyay gets the idagama, this jhaliking iti condition is no more satisfied, and therefore for the nishtha prakriya we don't get an example of vanati from this particular sutram. That's why we omitted that in the previous slide. We only get the examples of anudattopadesha and tanotyadi. So anudattopadesha anganam वनतेः तनोत्यादीनां च अनुनासिक लोपो भवति झलादौ किङिति प्रत्यये परतः. यम यतवान यतिः रमु रत्वा रतः रतवान. He is giving various examples. अनुदात्तोपदेशाः अनुनासिकान्ताः. So this first category, he lists all the 6 dhatus. यम रम नम गम हन मन एते सर्वे अत्र अनुदात्तोपदेशाः अनुनासिकान्ताः सन्ति. कौमुदी अनुनासिकान्तानां येषां वनतेः लोपस्यात् झलादौ किङिति परे यमि रमि नमि गमि हनि मन्यतयोः अनुदात्तोपदेशाः तनु क्षणु क्षीणु ऋणु तृणु घृणु वनु मनु तनोत्यादयः. So he also omits that sanu dane dhatu from this particular list. So that's the first sutra. अस्मिन् सूत्रे वनति इत्यनेन निर्दिष्टः धातुः भ्वादिगणस्य वनसम्भक्तौ इति धातुः अस्ति. अस्य विषये निष्ठा प्रत्ययोः झलादित्वं विनश्यति. किमर्थं यडागमः भवति, अतः अस्य सूत्रस्य अत्र उदाहरणं न अस्य धातोः अत्र उदाहरणं न दत्तमस्ति. The second is जनसनखनां संझलोः. So this particular sutram is specifically for four dhatus. We have two sana dhatus, shanudane and shanasambhaktau, jani pradurbhave and khanu avadarani. Now for all these cases, we need to cross check that there is no idagama, as I mentioned in the previous case. In one particular vanati case, there was an idagama and therefore the sutra was not applicable. So atra jani iti ईदित अस्ति अतः श्वीदितो निष्ठामिति इडागमः निषिध्यते शृणु नो चेत् खनु इत्यत्र सर्वत्र यस्य विभाषा इति इडागमः निषिध्यते क्षणसम्भक्तौ इत्यस्य विषये अपि यस्य विभाषा इति इडागमः निषिध्यते. Why? Because there is a sutram sani vantardhabhrasja. We have studied this sutram. The first dhatu itself in the last dhatu itself, sana over there, that indicates the sana sambhaktau. So अत्र सन प्रत्यय से इडागमः विकल्प्यते अतः निष्ठा प्रत्यय से इडागमः यस्य विभाषा इति निषिध्यते. And therefore for all these dhatus again we have the झलादि कित् प्रत्यय directly in front. सर्वत्र किं भवति एतेषाम् आकारः अन्तादेशः स्यात्. The न is converted to a. In the previous case न was undergoing a lopa. Now the न is converted to a. जन j-a जात सात खात and so on. Somebody is asking a question over here. If there are no examples of vanati, why is vanati present in this sutra? Vanati is present in this sutra because you can get examples for other jhaladi kingiti pratyayas. So this sutra is not specific to nishtha. Specifically when it comes to nishtha, this particular sutra is not applicable. However, for other jhaladi kit pratyayas, this you get the examples of vanati. Therefore, this particular nirdesha is being done over here. The third sutram, anunasikasya kvijjalokniti. This is the fallback. If the previous two sutras are not applicable, we go here. Anunasikantasya upadhayaha dirghaha syat kvau pare jhaladau chakiniti. So I think this was the one we discussed in the kvit pratyaya. So in all the other cases where you don't get one of the previous two sutras, अनुनासिकान्तः धातु अस्ति चेत् तत्र उपधायाः दीर्घादेशः श becomes sha, k becomes ka, t becomes ta, ksha becomes sha, and so on. Ma is retained, it will get converted to anuswara, then it will get converted to parasavarna nakara, and you get shanta kanta and so on. Now one question that comes over here, again this has already been discussed. As I mentioned, everything that or 90% of the stuff that I discussed today is revision. पुनरेकवारं स्मारयामि वदामि नो चेत् अत्र अनुनासिकस्य क्विज्झलो किङिति इति सूत्रं पश्यामश्चेत् अत्र उपधावर्णस्य दीर्घादेशः क्रियते. So you have the anunasikanта dhatu, you take the upadhavarna and do the dirgha. If you go two sutras behind, we say anudattopadesha vanati tanotyadinam anunasikalopo jhali kiङiti. So for all the anudattopadesha dhatus, we can also do anunasika lopa. Specifically, if you, for example, you can do anunasika lopa, which is a karya on the last letter. So anunattopadesha, anunasika lopa can also happen. Upadha dirgha can also happen. So when there is a conflict between anunasika lopa, which is a karya on a different entity, upadha dirgha, which is a karya on a different entity, we also should remember that there is, I have already explained this in one of the previous classes, there is a nitya anitya charcha discussion that we do over here. We have already done it earlier. Atra upadhavarnasya dirghadeshaha anityam karyamasti. Anunasikah lopah, anunasikasya lopah kriyate chet upadhavarnasya upadha iti upadhatvam ityeva vinishati. So as soon as you do the anunasika lopa first, the upadha letter will no more be in the upadha, and therefore anunasikasya kvijjalo kiङiti ityenana tasya sutrasya prasakti asya sutrasya prasakti tatra nasti. Understand this once again. If you go to this particular sutra, anudattopadesha vaniti tanotyadinam anunasika lopo jhali kiङiti, for these 6 dhatus, anudattopadesha sutra, this particular sutram is also applicable, and anunasikasya kvijjalo kiङiti sutram is also applicable. However, anunasikasya kvijjalo kiङiti sutram is anitya sutram. If you do the makara lopa by this particular sutram over here, anunasika lopa, the akara, the whatever letter, upadha letter, on whose a dirgha is being done, no more remains in the upadha, and therefore we don't apply anunasika vidyalokini iti at this particular stage. So अनुदात्तोपदेश बनोते तनोत्यादीनाम अनुनासिक लोपो झलिकिंग इत्यतेन अनुनासिक लोपः तथा च जनसनखनां संझलो इत्यतेन अनुनासिकस्य आकारादेशः उभयत्र अपि संभवति। उभयोः सूत्रयोः कार्यस्य प्रसक्तिः अस्ति चेत् तदेव कार्यं तत्र करणीयम्, अनेन सूत्रेण उपधादीर्घः न करणीयः इति अत्र आशयः। So basically this is a fallback. First you do the anunasika lopa or upadha dirgha, anunasika dirgha. If you cannot do either of them, then you do upadha dirgha. There are a few questions, but I can skip them for now. So that completes actually 3 sutras. We have anunasika vidyalokini 6.4.15. We have anudattopadesha 6.4.37, and we have janasanakhana sanjaloho 6.4.42. Agre gacchamaha. The next category of the sutras is chakaranta dhatus, and again jhaladinishta pratyah. Jhaladi iti vadamashit idagama rahitaha iti tatra jnatavyam. So for the chakaranta dhatus, we have chvoho shud arunasike cha 6.4.19, and we have ral lopaha 6.4.21. These 2 sutras, in some cases you get chakarasya shakaradeshah, in some other cases you get the chakarasya lopaha. Pashamah tatra chakarantah dhatuh asti निष्ठा प्रत्ययस्य इडागमः न भवति, तत्र धातोः छकारात् पूर्वं रेफः अस्ति चेत् छकारस्य लोपः भवति. Only 3 dhatus like that in the dhatu patha. The end letter has to be ch, and before that there has to be ref. You can see the dhatu patha later on yourself. So mur ch plus ta, chakarat purvam refah asti chet kim bhavati, chakarasya lopah bhavati. So ch goes away, mur plus ta, further prakriya happens, murna iti tatra rupam siddhati. In all other cases, what will happen is che ch will give you a tugagama over there. So you have only 2 cases. You either have a repha before it or you have a swara before it. If you have a swara before it, there will be a tugagama because of che cha or dirghat. Tatra satukkaha chakaraha asti chet tasya chakarasya shakaradeshah bhavati. So previous case the chakar is being removed. In the current case, for example, prucha iti dhatuhu asti, tatra pruttacha iti tugagamaha prathamam bhavati. Tadanantaram prusha plus ch ityasya shakaradeshah bhavati, prushta iti rupam siddhati. Now somebody is asking a good question over here: is murchita shabda illegal, or it is, is it correct, or is it sadhu shabda, or is it not a sadhu shabda? This actually has been discussed in the commentaries. Let's actually, I'll hold on this question. We'll go to the commentaries. I don't know if it's written in the presentation or not, but we'll talk about that. So you have murcha plus ta, murna, 2 more dhatus are there, and in all other cases ta plus ch satukkaha chakarah asti tasya shakaradeshah bhavati, prushta iti agre tripadikaryam krutva rupam siddhyati. So that's basically these 2 sutras, chvoho shud anunasike cha and ral lopaha. Now if you look at these 2 sutras, chvoho shud anunasike cha and ral lopaha, in both these sutras there is either a chakaranta anga or there is a vakaranta anga. So you can look at this. This sutra is shared between chakaranta anga and vakaranta anga. Similarly, this ral lopa is also shared between chakaranta anga and vakaranta anga. So before we take a look at the sutras, let's also take that particular case. Vakarantam angam no chet vakarantah dhatuh asti, tatra agre jhaladinishta pratyaya bhavati chet kim bhavati. So jhaladinishta pratyaya ityukte idagama rahitaha pratyaya. So then there are a few cases over here. All these again sutras have been studied specifically in case of kvippa. So kvippa, the reason I'm again and again mentioning kvippa, and you should go back and watch the kvippa class again, is because kvippa is also a kit pratyaya. So a lot of things have already been discussed in case of kvippa pratyaya, which we will be reusing over here. So the sutras that I was talking about was chvoho shud anunasikecha and ral lopaha. So again, the last 2 clauses are same as last 2 conditions are same as the previous slide. तत्र छकारस्य लोपः आसीत्, अत्र वकारस्य लोपः। सो धातोः वकारात् पूर्वं रेफः अस्ति चेत् वकारस्य लोपः, अन्यत्र वकारस्य ऊठ् इति आदेशः भवति। So the chakara was converted to sh, the vakara is being converted to ut, and ral lopa is exactly the same functionality, vakarasya lopa bhavati. There are only two specific dhatus, vakaranta dhatus, for which a specific functionality has been given. So sriva tatrapi kashana gufa asti vadami. Sriva iti dhatuः अस्ति गतिशोषणयोः। अस्य धातोः विषये किं भवति? अस्य धातोः अन्ते विद्यमानः वकारः तथा च तस्य उपधायां विद्यमानः इकारः, एतयोः मिलित्वा ऊठ् आदेशः भवति। So this is neither vakara lopa nor it is vakarasya standalone vakarasya ऊठ् आदेशः, it is ikar vakarayoः मिलित्वा ऊठ् आदेशः. So sriva iti asti sa plus ra plus iva, and that iva thing whole as it is gets converted to ut. Th is itsamnyaka, u iti eva tatra drishyate, atah sa plus ra, in place of that iva we get u, sa plus ra plus u plus ta, sruta iti tatra rupam siddhyati. This is a specific form. Atra उपधावर्णस्य इत्युक्ते इकारस्य तथा च वकारस्य मिलित्वा आदेश विधानं कृतमस्ति. Now similarly there is another dhatu mava bandhane. Now this is actually set dhatu. So sriva dhatu is udit, srivu, and therefore yasya vibhasha idagama will not come out there. Parantu mava iti kashchana dhatu asti, vastutah ayam set dhatu asti, parantu काशिकाकारस्य मतेन अस्य धातोः विहितः निष्ठा प्रत्ययः इडागमं न स्वीकरोति. He does not give any sutra, he does not give any logical explanation, he just says tatra in nishedha bhavati. Maybe he's justifying some prayogas. So for the mava dhatu, ideally the form should be mava plus ita plus ta mavita. However, according to Kashika, Kaumudi does not give a reference, if I'm not mistaken, Kaumudi doesn't give a reference about this. According to Kashika, there is no idagama for the nishtha pratyayas, and therefore for the mava dhatu also the special condition or the special rule of sriva is applied. So ikara vakarayoh ityasya sthane akara vakarayoh, ubadhavarnah akarah asti, akara vakarayoh mava ityasya dhatoh vishaye ut adeshah bhavati. So here ikara vakara has been written is actually upadha letter and the vakara letter. So upadha was e, so I wrote ikara vakara. Here upadha letter is a, so I am writing akara vakarayoh ut adeshah bhavati. So mava, ma standalone halanta ma will remain as it is. Makarottara akarah tatha cha vakarah av ityetayoh militva u iti adeshah bhavati. Mut iti rupam kashikakarasya matena siddhyati. So somebody is asking what is the point of having tha in ut over there. Etedhatyut su iti tatra vruddhi adeshah bhavati has been taught in varna-karya. I'll again come to it when we discuss varna-karya in step number 9. So mava iti visheshah tatra special treatment kachikakarena diyate. In fact, there are like some 10 or 15 such special odd dhatus where, you know, commentaries abruptly give a karya without justifying on based on any sutra or anything. I'm purposely avoiding all these in current discussion. We'll have to spend one full class in treating this, all these special cases where a karya just has been given without any reference to Panini sutras and has been somehow justified. So various different dhatus are there like that. We'll take one full class. We'll again see this mava dhatu at that point in time, because it was vakaranta, I just made a quick reference over here. So mava becomes muta. Except for these two special cases, these two special cases are given by the sutra Jwaratvara Srivi. I think it's here. Jwaratvara Srivi avi mavam upadhayascha. So this is a special sutra which is a sandwiched between chvoho shud anunasikecha and ralopaha. So jwara, tvara, sriva, ava and mava ityetesham vishaye asya sutrasya prasaktihi asti. So let's take a look at that sutram first. Jwara, tvara, sriva, sriva, ava and mava इत्येतेषां विषये ज्वर, त्वर, स्रिव, अव and mava. But for all these particular dhatus, not necessarily for all these dhatus, the nishtha pratyay will be anitta. So we have to chop down places. We have to filter out the entries for which the nishtha pratyay is set. So jwara ityasya विषये निष्ठा प्रत्यय से इडागमः भवति, अतः तस्य विषये ज्वरित इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति. अव इत्यस्य विषये अपि अवित इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति, निष्ठा प्रत्यय से इडागमः भवति. So jwara and awa are chopped down. The middle one is ni twara sambhrame. Atra twara iti dhatuः आदित अस्ति. आदित तत्र आदितश्च इति सूत्रेण इडागमः निषिध्यते. And now comes answer to one of the questions that somebody asked: is murchita was illegal? So murcha, the same thing is going to happen over here. The dhatu is adit, it is murcha. Adit asti. अतः आदित धातोः विषये आदितश्च इति इडागमः तत्र निषिध्यते निष्ठा प्रत्ययो, परन्तु विभाषा भावादिकर्मणो इति तत्र पाक्षिकः इडागमः भावकर्मणोः विषये भवितुम् अर्हति. भावे एंड आदिकर्मणि भावादिकर्मणोः विषये भवितुम् अर्हति. So when you get the idagama, you will get the forms like murchita or tvarita. As soon as you get the idagama, none of these sutras are applicable because they talk about the jhaladi pratyaya. Therefore, if you get an idagama specifically for hitvara or murcha, tatra bhave no chet adikarmani idagamah bhavati chet tatra asya sutrasya prasaktihi nasti, ataha murchita no chet tvarita iti rupam siddhyati. There is in homework there is a question to derive the tvarita form today. On the other hand, if you do not get the idagama, then you can get the previous sutram for murcha, and atra twara iti asti, anina sutrena atra twara ityasya turna iti rupam bhavati. Same upadhavara and vakara. Jwaradinam upadha and vakara. It is not upadha vakarasya, it is upadha vakarayoho. Two different entities are being clubbed together. The vakara, which can appear anywhere, it need not appear at the last place at all, and upadha letter. So for example, in twara there is a vakara which is in the third place from the left, from the right. You have ra all the way to the right. Before that there is a, and before that there is va. So this vakara, which is at the third place from the right, and upadha, which is the second place from the right. So va plus a, that whole va entity, full va, is going to get converted to u, ta plus u, tura plus ta, turna iti tatra siddhyati. Sriva we saw on the last slide. Atra vakaraha ante asti, ataha tatra antima varnaha tatha upadha varnaha etayoho militva ut iti adeshah bhavati. Agre ava ityasya विषये प्रसक्तिः नास्ति. मव इत्यस्य विषये अपि तत्र छेडी सॉल्यूशन काशिकाकारेण तत्र किमपि कारणं न दीयते, परन्तु तत्र निष्ठा प्रत्ययोः परयोः अस्य अनित्यत्वं स्वीकृत्य, इत्युक्ते निष्ठा प्रत्ययानां प्रत्ययोः अत्र इडागमः न भवति इति उक्त्वा तदनन्तरम् अकार वकारस्य उपधावर्णस्य तथा च वकारस्य ऊठ इति आदेशः कृतः अस्ति. So jwara tvara, this particular sutram gives some special cases, the specifically talking about the nishtha situation. Jwara and ava, this particular sutra is not applicable. Mava kashikakarasya matena tatra rupam siddhyati. Yitvara tatra pakshikah idagamah nishiddhyate. अतः तत्र एतादृशं रूपं भवितुम् अर्हति. स्रिव इत्यत्र यस्य विभाषा इति इडागमः निषिध्यते, अतः तत्र अस्य सूत्रस्य प्रसक्तिः अस्ति. So that takes care of the first sutram jwara tvara. Let's go to the second one, ral lopaha, the one that causes the lopa of the repha and chakara. Sorry, rephat parasya chakara and rephat parasya vakara. Ral lopa causes the lopa of va and ch. So rephat parayoho chvoho lopaha syat kvau jhaladau anunasikadau cha pratyaye. Murcha gives murta, spurcha gives spurna, urva gives urna, turva gives turna, and so on. Give me 1 minute. So I think this Dirgha, I don't remember. I think the dhatu is itself dirgha, I think. Or there are pathabhedas, I think. Whether the dhatu is originally, yeah, it's a haswa originally over here, and then it becomes dirgha. So you have a haswa upadha, ukarha tatra haswa asti. So this was a typo. Here I should make a haswa over here. And this was correct. Here it's written correctly. So that was the ral lopaha. The last sutram in that particular list is chvoho shud anunasike cha satukasya chasya vasya cha kramat cha ut ityetau adeshau staha anunasike kvau jhaladau chakiniti. So jhaladi kit pratyay pare, we are ignoring all other stuff. Let's keep concentrate focused only on the jhaladi kit pratyay, specifically the nishtha, nothing else. So jhaladi kit pratyay pare angante vidyamanasya cha त प्लस छ इत्यस्य शकारादेशः भवति व इत्यस्य ऊठ आदेशः भवति. So all these things, the same slide has been copied from one of the previous presentations. So उपधावर्णस्य छे च नो चेत् दीर्घादित्यनेन तुगागमः भवति, तत्र त प्लस छ इति आगच्छति, अस्यां स्थितौ तस्य शकारादेशः भवति, अग्रे त्रिपादिकार्यं कृत्वा पृष्ठ इति रूपं भवति, एवमेव उच्छ इत्यत्र उष्ट इति रूपं भवति. अंगस्य अन्ते विद्यमानस्य वकारस्य ऊठ इति आदेशः भवति. सो ष्ठिव इत्यत्र व इत्यस्य स्थाने ऊठ इति भवति, धाव इत्यस्य स्थाने अपि वकारस्य ऊठ इति भवति. Now when this u comes in front of this or a, एति एधति ऊठ सु इत्यनेन तत्र वृद्धि एकादेशः भवति. That's the reason why ठकार is present. So अग्रे आवश्यकं चेत् एत्येधत्यूठ सु इत्यनेन वृद्धि एकादेशः विधीयते. A plus U in normal circumstances should give O, but now it gives AU. Dha plus U becomes Dhaut. Not every time the Vruddhi Ekadesha will be possible or will be taking place, because you need an A or A over here. Here there is, for example, Sthi plus U, a normal Yanadesha is going to happen. Shthyuta iti bhavati. Dha plus Ut iti asti chetu. Tatra Vruddhi Ekadesham krutva Dhaut iti siddhyati. Remember that both these sutras are not to be applied when there is a pasakti of ral lopaha. The question doesn't come for the ch, the t plus ch, because the condition itself is satukkaha chakaraha, whereas in the ral lopaha it is repha plus chakara. So there are two different conditions altogether. But the problem comes for va. So here angasya ante vidyamanasya va ityasya ut adesha bhavati. अयम उत्सर्गः इति सामान्य सूत्रम, परंतु तस्मात् वकारात् पूर्वं रेफः अस्ति चेत् ऊठ आदेशः न भवति, अपि तु तत्र वकारस्य लोपः भवति. सो यस्मिन् अंगे व इत्यस्मात् पूर्वं रेफः अस्ति तत्र ऊठ इति आदेशं बाधित्वा राल् लोपः इत्यनेन अंगस्य अन्तिमवर्णस्य लोपः भवति. सो राल् लोपः comes as an अपवाद to this particular chvoho shud anunasike cha, this particular context. So that completes chvoho shud anunasike cha, jvara tvara srivyamiva vamupadhayascha and ral lopaha. These particular three sutras have been completed over here. Murchita did not come up, so there is another answer. Somebody was asking, is Murchita illegal? I've already explained Murchita is actually legal or is correct, and have given the reason, but there is another reason why Murchita is legal. Ironically, it doesn't belong to this Kridanta Prakaranam. The Murchita word over there is not a Kridanta word at all, it is a Tadhitanta word. Murcha asya asti ityatra tarakadibhyah itach ityanena tadasya sanjatam iti tarakadibhyah. Itach is a sutram in the Tadhita Prakaranam. That sutram gives itach pratyaya on the murcha word, and we say murcha plus itach becomes murchita. So tadasya sanjatam murcha asya sanjata saha murchitaha. If I'm not mistaken, this is there in that sutra also. Tadasya sanjatam tarakadibhya itach. So in this particular sutram, he does give an example somewhere murchita, probably not here. But one of the sutras, he explains, explicitly quotes this particular tadasya sanjatam tarakadibhya itach and gives an example of murchita. So you have two different ways by which murchita can be derived. Agre gacchamaha. The next sutram that we want to have is everybody's like very well known sutra, aniditam halopadhayaha kiniti पूर्वस्मिन् वर्गे तत्र मस्जिनशोर्झलि इत्यस्य अध्ययनसमये अपि एतत् सूत्रम् अस्माभिः दृष्टम्. I mean, there is nothing, same slides have been repeated. So अनिदित् धातुः अस्ति चेत् तत्र उपधायां विद्यमानस्य नकारस्य कित् नित् प्रत्यये परे लोपः भवति. So the nakara present in the dhatu can come by various ways. One of them is idito num dhatoho. Dhatuhu idit asti chet tatra idito num dhatoho iti numagamah bhavati. We keep all those dhatus aside. In all other cases, the numagam or the nakara can be directly present in the dhatu, like say dhvansa, chancha, grantha, and so on. The nakara is actually present in the dhatu from the upadeshika form. Or the nakara can come by some other mechanism in the prakriya. So masja iti asti, tatra masdi nashorjhali iti numagamaha sakshat sutrena vidhiyate, tatra numagamaha bhavati. So whether the numagama comes by a specific mandated sutram, or whether the numagama is present all the way from the, not numagama, whether the nakara is present all the way from the aupadeshika form, that nakara will be removed by aniditam halupadhaya kiti. The only nakara that will be remaining is the one that comes by idito num dhatoho, and that's why he uses the word aniditam. Halantanam aniditanam anganam upadhayaha nakarasya lopaha syat kiti niti cha. Very nice sutram for doing dalakrutyam. The question is there in the homework today. Aniditam itikim, halaha itikim, upadhaya itikim, niti itikim. Sarvani udaharanani tatra dattani santi. Multiple times we have discussed this. अत्र एकं वार्तिकं विशेषरूपेण ज्ञातव्यं. So this is the probably only new part or one of the two new things that we are going to discuss today. तत्र अनिदितां हलोपधायाः किङिति इत्यत्र इत्यस्मिन् सूत्रे एकं विशिष्टं वार्तिकम् आचार्येण पाठ्यते. तत् दृष्ट्वा अग्रे गच्छामः. अनिदितां न लोपे लङ्गिकम्प्योः उपतापशरीरविकारयोः उपसंख्यानं कर्तव्यम्. In this particular sutram, even though it says anidit dhatunam vishaye upadhanakarasya lopaha bhavati, tatra dvayoho idit dhatvoho vishaye api vishishta sandarbheshu asya sutrasya prasaktihi vidyate. Aniditanam na lope langi. So that's the lagi dhatu. Lagi is an idit dhatu. Kapi, to shake, kampate, it is an idit dhatu. Idit dhatu asti chet tatra nakarasya lopaha na bhavati. Langita, kampita iti antimam rupam bhavet. Parantu etayoho dhatvoho vishaye vishishta sandarbhe upatapa तथा शरीर विकार यथा संख्यम. सो लगी इति धातुः अस्ति, कपि इति धातुः अस्ति. यद्यपि एतौ धातौ इदितौ स्तः, विशेष अवस्थायाम् एतयोः विद्यमानस्य नकारस्य अनेन वार्तिकेन लोपः क्रियते. लग धातोः विषये उपधाप मीन्स बेसिकली व्याधि, सम काइंड ऑफ डिसीज. तस्य तस्मिन् विषये अस्य संदर्भे नकारस्य लोपः क्रियते. So even if it says nakara, it's always nakara over there, because aniditam halupadhaya kingite will bring a, sorry, iditonum dhato will bring a nakara over here. So that nakara is being removed by this vartikam, giving the final form as vilagita vyadhihi iti atra sandarbha asti. So a disease or say some pain or something, that will be vilagita. Everything else will be vilangita. The second one, I'll talk about this in a minute. The second one, sharira vikaraha. So that's about the kampa dhatu. Kampa dhatu, sharira vikaraha asti. So the body shaking because of some disease in the old age, because of say some other reasons, maybe extreme cold or whatever. So tatra sharira vikaraha asti, some kind of transformation in the body. व्याधिकृतः तथा अन्यः तत्र कंपधातोः विषये पुनरेकवारम् अनिदितां हलुपधायाः किङिति इत्यनेन नो चेत् अनेन वार्तिकेन उपधानकारस्य लोपः भवति. विकपित इति अत्र शब्दः सिद्ध्यति, अन्यत्र तु विकम्पित इति अत्र शब्दः सिद्ध्यति. Let's read this. Upatape. So this specific discussion is in nyasa for this particular upatapa lagi dhatu. Upatape vilangitaha इत्येव प्रयोगः मा भूत् इत्येवमर्थं लङ्गल्लोपो विधीयते न तु रूपसिद्ध्यर्थम्. So what he is saying over here is, in case of upatapa, for this laga dhatu, in case of upatapa, if you do not give this particular vartikam, you will get the form as say vilangita. Now vilangita ityasya prayogaha atra ma bhut, atah atra ayam lopaha uktaha asti. Specifically, there is another dhatu called laga, which will anyway give the vilagita form. So this particular vartika specifically for the langa dhatu is not to derive a correct form. There is already a laga dhatu which will be able to, you can use it for deriving the correct form. It's this particular vartika is to block the vilangita form to be derived in the sense of upatapa. So upatape vilangita ityeva prayogaha ma bhut ityevamर्थं लङ्गः लोपो विधीयते न तु रूपसिद्ध्यर्थं लगे संगे इत्यस्य प्रकृत्यनन्तरस्य तत्र सिद्धत्वात्. Simple shastra vishay, nothing more. Specifically to say that not every prayoga or not every sutram or vartikam is done for creating a new prayoga. Sometimes you also want to block an invalid prayoga. That's why vartika is necessarily necessary over here. Now there is a question over here. Why did we not apply this sutra to allied numagama during the prakriya for magna? Yes. So we have used this sutra. That's the last example over there. Masja plus ta, mas na ja plus ta. This na goes away by aniditam halopadhaya kiniti. What you see nakara in the final form is different. It is all the way at the end. It is takarasya nakara desha praptaha asti. So that's a different nakara which is coming up in the tripadi state. Here the upadha nakara that is present over there. I showed this prakara in the last class. Revision is extremely important. Agre gacchamaha. Shas idang haloho etadapi asmabhi purvam drushtam. Specifically shas iti dhatuhu asti. Tasya vishay idam sutram. Shas dhatoho upadhayaha ikaradeshaha bhavati angi parataha haladau cha kiniti. So none of these sutras are actually specifically nishtha related. They combine a lot of things. So here, for example, you have lung lakarasya pratyayaha ang iti pratyaha asti. So shasa dhatoho vishaye shli ityasya vikarna pratyasya ang iti adeshaha bhavati sartishastyartebhyascha. Those of you who have memorized 3.1 will probably remember this. So sartishastyartebhyascha ityanena shas iti asti. So for that shas there is an ang pratyaya that references over here, and in addition there is haladi kiniti pratyaya, halani kidnit pratyaya, which is what we are discussing right now. So shasa iti dhatuhu tasya upadhaya. Which shasa dhatu? Shasa anushishtav dhatu. There are two shasa dhatus. There is a shasa ichhayam and there is a shasa anushishtav. But shasa ichhayam does not get the ang at all, and therefore this particular sutram cannot be applicable for shasa ichhayam. I mean, for both of them, shasa ichhayam and shasa anushishtav, haladi kidnit might be possible, but because there is ang also embedded in this particular sutram, we need to find out a dhatu for which both ang as well as haladi kidnit are possible. So for shasu ichhayam ityasya vishaye ang pratyah eva tatra na bhavati, atah asmin sutre shas anushishtav adadi ganasya dhatu asti tasyeva atra granam kriyate tadeva uktam asti yasmat shasehe ang vihitah shasu anushishtav iti tasya eva idam granamishyate angaha shasu ichhayam ityasya na bhavati. So what is happening eventually is akarasya ikaradesha, shas becomes shis. Shas idang haloho, typing mistake. What? Shasa idang haloho 6434. This is the sutram 6434. The number is also wrong. I'll fix this. So shasa becomes shisa, shisa plus ta, agre sakarasya shakaraha, shasiva sighasi namcha. We have seen this sutra in the Shatva Prakaranam. Shtunashtuhu. Again, we have seen everything. We have seen so much actually in this course that please, if you have not started the revision, you should urgently start it. सो शास शिस शिष शिष्ट इति अत्र अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति। शासुपधायाः इत् स्यात् अङ्गि हलादौ च किङिति इति अत्र कौमुदी व्याख्या। The next one, only 2 more sutras remaining. We should be able to finish in probably 10 more minutes. So if you can take a look at this Janasana, everything is done. Shasa idang haloho is done. Anudattopadesha vaniti tanotyadinam, all these things are done. Now this middle red colored sutras over there they have a common theme running across them. They all talk about ghu samyak dhatus. So dadha ghvadap ityanena ghu iti samnyadiyate tasyaha ghu samnyayaha vishaye atra. All these sutras are over here, and some interesting shastra artha is there in these particular sutras. So we will take all these sutras as a single thread in tomorrow's class. For today, the only 2 sutras that are remaining are Shachonyatarasyam, probably 3 more minutes, and Teach, again 3 more minutes. That's it. So Shachonyatarasyam, only 2 dhatus. This is a new sutram. So this and the next one are new sutras. So please pay attention. Shachonyatarasyam ityatra dhatu dvayam. Sho, tanu karane, to spread. Many meanings are there actually. And cho, chedane, iti dhatu dvayam. एतयोः अंगस्य निष्ठा प्रत्ययोः परयोः विकल्पेन इकारादेशः भवति. So sha will optionally become she and cha will optionally become chi. So Kaumudi gives the forms shita and chita. So shita, chata optionally. So both forms are possible. Both these dhatus are anit dhatus. Therefore, there is no question of idagama coming over there. Why it is important? Because the sutra itself says takaradau kiti pratyayah. So takaradi kit pratyayah asti chedeva asya sutrasya prasaktihi, ajadi kit pratyayah asti ched asya prasaktihi na vidyate, parantu atra idagamah nishtha pratyudagamah na bhavati. Atah shita, shat, chit, chat, optional ikaradesha is there. So sho, first of all, sho will become sha, adechopadesha shiti. That sha will become she. Cho will become cha and cha will become chi. So cha cha ityetayoho anyatarasyanikaraadeshah bhavati takaradau kiti, sha nishitam nishatam, cha avachhitam avachhadam, and so on. There is a specific situation in which this ikaradesha is compulsory. That's what is given by the Vartikakara. Shatehe itvam, only for the sho dhatu. Shatehe itvam vrate nityam iti vaktavyam. So in specific cases, when sama upasarga comes along with the sha dhatu, the final verb sama plus sha ityasya prayogah vratasya sandarbhena bhavati chet tatra ikaradesha nityam bhavati. So samshitaha brahmanaha, a brahmanaha, this should be brahmana, a brahmana who is doing his rituals, his vrata, whatever his puja and other stuff are, he is doing it with proper system, systematically, thoroughly, without cutting corners and so on. So Kaumudi explains it very well. Samyak sampaditam, samshitam vratam ityukte samyak sampaditam. The vrata has been executed very precisely, and samshitaha brahmana vrata vishayaka yatnavan. So this is the kartari prayoga. Samshitam vratam is the karmani prayoga. I think karmani prayoga. So vrata vishayaka yatnavan, the one who is involved or who is dedicated or who is doing hard work towards his fulfillment of his vrata. Now it turns out that this is a Vartikam over here, Shatehe itvam vrate nityam iti vaktavyam. But Bhashyakara apparently says that this Vartika is not required because this Anyatarasyam can be treated as a Vyavasthita Vibhasha. We have seen this pattern actually multiple times earlier. So anytime there is an Anyatarasyam in the Sutram, and this is a remarkable pattern that Bhashyakara repeats again and again. Anytime there is an Anyatarasyam in the Sutram, and if Vartikakara gives a certain specific Vartikam in a specific case where that particular Karya becomes compulsory, Bhashyakara will usually reject that Vartika, saying that Anyatarasyam ittenena uktam vibhasha karyam ittenena ukta vibhasha vyavasthita vibhasha asti iti vadamaha. So what is vyavasthita vibhasha? the option will be given by Panini to us. The option is not left to us. Vyavastha tatra सिद्धा अस्ति तस्यां व्यवस्थायां ये शब्दाः विद्यन्ते तेषां विषये अत्र अस्य सूत्रस्य प्रयोगः भवति. So he says this is a vyavasthita vibhasha. We have seen this in case of vibhasha graha also, that they, because of vyavasthita vibhasha jalasharasya विषये नित्यं भवति, ज्योतिषी विषये न भवति. अतः अनेन सेम थिंग अनेनैव प्रकारेण अत्र व्रतम् इति अस्ति चेत् अत्र नित्यं भवति, अन्यत् अस्ति चेत् विकल्पः भवति. I think last class also we saw something similar. So शाचोऽन्यतरस्याम् इत्यत्र अन्यतरस्याम् इति व्यवस्थित विभाषा अस्ति. That's what he makes it clear later on. व्यवस्थित विभाषा विज्ञानात् सिद्धम्. Kaumudi does not even talk about the Vartika at all, because essentially Bhashyakara gives this Vartika and he says that this Vartika is not really needed. So व्यवस्थित विभाषात्वात् व्रत विषये शतेः नित्यं संशितं व्रतं सम्यक् सम्पादितम् इत्यर्थः. संशितो ब्राह्मणः व्रत विषयक यत्नवान् इत्यर्थः. So this samshita vrata is in Bhagavad Gita, and vrata vishayaka yatnavan is samshitah brahmanah. So that is shachonyatarasyam. There are a few questions over here, but let me first finish up the material. The final sutra over here for today's class is teacher. Let's look at the context, because this is completely out of the context. I mean, numberings are basically, they are not continuous here. For example, Shachonyatarasam is 7, 4, 41. Then there is 42, 45, 46, 47. I have only inserted the intermediate sutras where anuvrutti really matters. If anuvrutti is not valuable, I have not inserted the intermediate sutras in the gray color. So here, for example, teacher iti sutram asti, tatra चर फलोश्च इति सूत्रे चर तथा फल इति धातु द्वयं विद्यते. एतयोः धात्वोः विषये अत्र ति च इति सूत्रं प्रयुज्यते. So this ti च सूत्रम is for two verbs chara and phala. However, chara dhatu, when kta pratyaya or nishtha pratyaya is added to it, we will get the idagama, and therefore it is no more takaradi pratyaya. Ti cha, the sutra gives it all. It has to be takaradi pratyaya. If idagama comes, it's not a takaradi pratyaya. Therefore, chara dhatoho vishaye charita iti samanya rupena idagamam krutva rupam siddhyati. Phala dhatoho vishaye tu yi phala iti adit dhatuh asti. Atha aditascha iti tatra pakshikaha idagama. No chet aditascha iti nityameva idagamaha nishidyate. Asyam sito yi phala plus kta इत्यत्र तकारादि कित् प्रत्ययः अग्रे आगच्छति. अत्र ति च इति सूत्रेण किं भवति, यि फला इत्यस्य उकारादेशः भवति. सो यि फला विशरणे इत्यस्य धातोः अंगस्य निष्ठा प्रत्यये परे उकारादेशः भवति. दिस उकारादेश इज ऑफ not the last letter but the upadha letter. Let me just quickly check in the sutram where this comes from. There must be an anuvritti somewhere. Akarasya ukaradeshah bhavati. That's what. So there is an anuvritti of attaha from the previous sutram. That's the reason it was written over here. So chara phalosha ityatra phala ityasya anuvritti agre agachati. Atra अतः परस्य अतः इत्यस्य अनुवृत्ति अग्रे आगच्छति. सो अकारस्य फल धातोः अकारस्य उकारादेशः भवति. सो इ फला इत्यत्र फल इत्यत्र फकारोत्तरः अकारः, अस्य अकारस्य उकारादेशः भवति. फुल्ल प्लस क्त. फर्दर प्रक्रिया will happen. This is in the Tripadi. Final form is फुल्ल. सो इ फला तत्र फुल्ल इति सिद्ध्यति. कदा सिद्ध्यति, इडागमः न भवति चेत् तत्र सिद्ध्यति. तत्र विभाषा भावादि कर्मणोः इत्यनेन पाक्षिकः इडागमः तत्र भवति चेत् फलित इत्येव रूपं भवति. परन्तु इडागमस्य अनुपस्थितौ फकारोत्तरस्य अकारस्य उकारादेशः फुल्ल इति अन्तिमं रूपं सिद्ध्यति. When there is an upasarga, the same thing is going to happen. I mean, whether there is upasarga or not, the current sutra does not cause any difference. But this double lakara, you don't get a form like this. You get a praphulta. So it's actually easy. Pra plus phul plus ta. You combine everything together to form praphulta. This is basically the final form that we get over here. Whereas in case of phulla plus ta, there is a nipatana given in the tripadi. We will see that when we go to the tripadi karya. So because of that nipatana, you get the takarasya lakaradesha praphulla. So the step of takarasya lakaradesha happens only when there is no upasarga. Therefore, both the examples have been given. Also, the point that I earlier mentioned, bhave adikarmani vibhasha bhavadikarmano ityanena pakshike idagame krute pratyasya ajaditvat ukaradesha न भवति फलित इति अत्र रूपं सिद्ध्यति. So Kashika, तकारादौ प्रत्यये परतः चर फलो अकारस्य उकारादेशः भवति. He gives tin pratyaya examples for the char dhatu because the nishtha examples are not possible, but when it comes to phala dhatu, he gives both the examples. So prafulti is the tin pratyay example, and prafulta, this one, is the nishtha pratyay example. So this is very important to understand. For chara dhatu, he does not give the nishtha pratyanta examples because they don't exist. Chara, there is an idagama for the nishtha pratyas, you get charita. So Kaumudi. So here the tin pratyay does not get the nishtha pratyay. We'll discuss idagama. The tin pratyay for this case does not get the idagama. We'll discuss that when we come to the discussion of tin pratyayas. For now, all that we need to remember is char dhatoho vishaye nishtha pratyayoho prakriyayam asya sutrasya prasaktiः नास्ति. फल इत्यस्य विषये इदं सूत्रं प्रवर्तते. कौमुदीं पश्यामः. चर फलोपत उत्स्यात् तादौ किति prafultaha. This all further, actually I should have deleted this. Prakshibitaha, prakrutitaha, prahullagita is basically all other forms not related directly to this sutra. So actually now that I've mentioned and we have time, I can quickly point you to where this all comes from. So if you go to Tripadi Karyam, there is Anupasargat. This one, Anupasargat Phulla Kshiba Krushollagha. So he's actually discussing this sutram. So he explains Phulla, then he explains Kshiba, he explains Krusha, he explains Ullagha, and so on. So that's exactly what he's explaining over here. Phulla, Kshiba, Krusha, Lagha, and so on. We can ignore this particular forms for now. We'll come to this particular discussion when we go to the Nishtha Pratyas. That's why, because we are going in a particular sequence, some part of Kaumudi or Kashika also I have been omitting, throughout multiple classes, but we will eventually reach that till we reach the end of the Nishtha Pratyay discussion. All that discussion will be covered at some or the other point in that whole process. And somebody is asking, what is prafullita word? How is it derived? There is a separate dhatu called phulla vikasane. So phulla vikasane is a separate dhatu over there, not to be confused with phalla. So for phulla vikasane, there is phulla plus it plus the prafullita iti tatra rupam siddhyati. And that's it, I think. So this last note, charadhatoho nishtha pratyavidagama vihitayo nishtha pratyavidagama bhavati atha tasya vishayidam sutram na pravartate. And that's it. I'm so happy we concluded it so much early in time. So I could have taken the remaining set of sutras, but I think all these sutras that are remaining over here, they need a complete context. For example, bhuma, sthagam. Explaining a bhusamyak dhatu itself will take some 5. We have not studied it earlier in the class, I think. So it'll take some 5-7 minutes. Then we have so many examples and counter examples on the top of it. It's better that we have all these remaining sutras in a single flow. And somebody was requesting me that we should have sessions for 1 hour rather than 1.5 hours. So your wish has been granted today. So that's it for today. Samapayamaha atra abhyasaha. Abhyas is also very simple for today actually. Rupani sasutram sadhayata. 5 forms are given. You can come up with the prakriya. सूत्राणाम एकवाक्येन अर्थम लिखित्वा दलकृत्यम लिखत. So write one line meaning for these sutras. but then expand it on the basis of dalakrutyam. So what is dalakrutyam? Take each word that is required in the sutra. It may or may not be present in the sutram. It can also come by anuvrutti. So ral lopaha iti sutram tu lahu sutram asti, parantu tatra anuvrutti rupena kechana shabdaha agachanti, tesham api atra chintanam karaniyam. So anunasikasya kvijhalo kingiti ral lopaha aniditam halopadhayaha kingiti अनुदात्तोपदेश वनतितनोत्यादीनाम अनुनासिकलोपोझलिकिंगिति जनसनखनाम संझलोः इत्येतेषां सर्वेषां सूत्राणाम् एकवाक्येन अर्थं लिखित्वा दलकृत्यं प्रदर्शयेत्. So dalakrutyam basically take each word and expand on its requirement. Basically give a counter example. If that word is not there in the sutra, why the sutra won't be applicable? Iti tatra lekhaniyam. So that's it. There are a bunch of questions, but I don't want to deviate from the topic. All these questions are outside. Like some questions are tin pratyay there, some question on anunasika pratyay there. You can write to me separately and we can discuss those aspects. So samapayamaha. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow we will have a class. Tomorrow we will discuss all these sutras, bhuma, stha, gapa, jhati, sam, hali, deti, sthiti, mas, thamiti, kiti, and so on. This do, that, goho, and achopasargata is going to take out energy from me and from you all as well. Very beautiful Shastra discussion, very beautiful sutras, do, that, goho, and achopasargata. And then on coming Saturday, we have the homework discussion for the 4 upcoming homeworks. So I have got all the answers. The volunteers will present it in sequence. So that's it. Samapayamaha. येन अष्टाध्यै जगन्माता यस्य चित्तात् समुत्थिता वेदानामुपकाराय तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. शब्दब्रह्म समाराध्य कृतवान्यो विलक्षणं सर्वाश्चर्यमिदं शास्त्रं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. धन्यवाद.